this is probably the most common ringtone that you will hear if you step outside your house anywhere in India. I guess the Note 4 right now is the phone that plays this ringtone the most, but I'm sure that Xiaomi hopes that this phone will outplay that. Yo, I've been so excited about this phone and I've waited for it so eagerly. You know, the specs and features that the 5 Pro has is what I had in mind for the phone that will replace my Note 4. Thinner bezels, large battery, better cameras and more power. This one has got all of them. And yeah, I've only spent 5 days with the 5 Pro till now, but I feel it's the most complete phone that I can expect to buy in 2018. Like, you know, the word perfect phone is thrown around a lot these days especially. Thing is, the rate at which technology is advancing every few months these days is so fast that I don't think there can ever be a perfect phone. But considering the technology that's available right now in March 2018, I don't feel any phone is as complete as the 5 Pro. That's why when my aunt wanted to get a new phone recently, I suggested that we get this phone. Now, since we wanted to reminisce our old days and do what our ancestors do, we physically visited the Mi Home to buy the phone. I got to use her gold Note 5 Pro for a day, but unfortunately after a while she asked for it back. So I had to wait and visit my nearby Mi Home for 3 more weeks until I was able to get the 5 Pro of my choice. You know, the gold color is actually really nice. It's kind of like a light gold, kind of like champagne gold. I actually like it. It also looks slightly different when light falls on it at different angles. Now the white bezels on the front look slightly harsher in the video than they come across in real life. And honestly, that black border on the front wasn't really an issue for me. So I waited for the black variant because I like that stealthy look, and personally I prefer a black front on my phone to a white front. And I also got the black one because it's slightly more exclusive than the gold one, just because the black one is so hard to come by. Look, if you're set on one particular color, it makes sense to hold out for it. But if you're flexible, I feel trying that gold variant out in person really changed my mind of the way I actually think about this color combination in general. I think the next time I buy a phone, I won't jump for the black. I'll actually take a look and consider the other color options that are available. As far as the back of the phone is concerned, which is the part you hold in your hand, in case you didn't know, although the gold variant attracts noticeably less smudges and handswear than the black version, the Black 5 Pro is still much better at repelling that stuff when you compare to the previous matte black Redmi Note 4. But honestly, these smudges are still an issue for me, and after using the phone for a while, it gets very slippery, and that's why I'll end up using a case on the phone. That, and also because of the camera bump, so using a case basically prevents the entire weight of the phone from resting on the camera bump when I put it on a table. So I think one thing that most people would notice after using this phone for a few minutes is that how much heavier this is than something like the Note 4 or the Mi A1. And I feel this heft is one of the reasons why it feels so much more sturdier than the Note 4. It's also got good clicky buttons, a decently loud speaker, and an outdated port for people like me and probably you who still prefer using it. Also, it still has micro USB. Now, I know many people are annoyed by this, and just for the sake of some sort of closure, here's what Jay Money, the lead product manager for Xiaomi India, had to say about the use of micro USB.
Yeah, so I think that is a fair point, and I think that's like when we look at Redmi Note 5 Pro, like it literally has everything, and that is like the one area where you could be like, well, like I wish we could also have this. The problem with that line of thinking is that like then you can add on one other thing like, oh, I wish it was also waterproof. Like I wish it was also XYZ. We could keep talking about these little things, but I guess the question at the end of the day is like, would you not buy this phone because it has micro USB?
And now this is what Jay said just a few minutes earlier while launching the 5 Pro.
We really believe in Redmi Note 5, but many of you have asked us for more. We have Redmi Note 5 Pro.
I think considering the audience the 5 Pro is aimed at, I don't think there are any two ways about it. USB-C should have been used. But I think at the same time, Jay is not wrong. Not having USB-C is not a reason for me not to buy this phone. Honestly, Xiaomi has done so many other good things to this phone that not having USB-C doesn't bother me as much. There's also been some weird controversy about the glass protection used in this, whether it's Gorilla Glass or not, and if it is Gorilla Glass, then which version. It's weird because the official website of Xiaomi does say it is Gorilla Glass, and Jay confirmed which version of Gorilla Glass is being used in that same Q&A session when he thought the question being asked to him was of the glass protection on the 5 and the 5 Pro.
It's Gorilla Glass 3.
Even in camera lens.
Oh, the camera lens?
Yeah.
On the front would be 3, on the back I'm not sure.
In fact, something that really gets me even a few days after using this phone is how big this 6-inch display actually is compared to a traditional 5.5 and 16:9 display. So this is my first time using any phone with an 18:9 aspect ratio and thinner bezels, and it's nice to look at. So the width is the same as the Mi A1, but the screen is significantly taller. I've seen people say that the phone is a two-handed device. Honestly, that's really subjective. People's hand size and shape is not the same. So I mean, for me, I could comfortably use both the Note 4 and the Mi A1 with one hand. So yeah, because the screen is tall out here, it is more of a stretch, especially while reaching the top corners. But for me, it's not unmanageable to use in one hand. It is a bit more difficult, but the screen makes that trade-off worth it for me. It's still as sharp as before, but compared to something like the Mi A1, the screen quality is just so much better. It's more vibrant, the contrast is higher, and it's significantly more pleasing to look at. I immediately noticed the difference in the screen quality once I shifted my SIM from my Mi A1 to the Note 5 Pro. I didn't have to have them both side by side to notice the difference. Also, I was a bit unsure if I'll actually like the 18:9 display on a phone, but it's pretty good here. So because it's a taller screen, you can fit more vertical content, and I honestly don't have much of an issue with a part of the video getting cropped while zooming in. So I'm enjoying watching videos on this larger screen. But the thing with the YouTube app is zooming in doesn't always work. In fact, it doesn't work 50% of the time, and even restarting the app doesn't help. I hope this gets fixed soon. Honestly, apart from that, the software is pretty stable. Now, some quirks of MIUI which are there earlier are still there out here. But I really like the clean design of MIUI. I still don't think it's cohesive in terms of look with Google's material design, but I have gotten used to it and I've embraced MIUI. Also, I really don't like the standard MIUI launcher, so the moment I got this phone, I swapped it for something I like. So I'm really happy and satisfied with my setup on the phone right now. It's perfect for me. I'm also really satisfied with the performance of the 636 chip in the 5 Pro. Honestly, I haven't noticed much of a difference in terms of app opening speeds compared to the Mi A1, but I have noticed a difference in terms of the regular interactions, scrolling and swiping. It's much smoother, and I especially notice this in apps like Twitter and Facebook, which have raindrops on the 625 phones, but none of that is there on this phone. In the little time I've used the 5 Pro, I never felt it's getting out of breath. That's something which very occasionally happens to 625 phones. Now the 636 chip, which gives this good performance, also has a new image signal processor or ISP, and that along with Xiaomi bringing a dedicated camera team to work on the 5 Pro's cameras who are actually based in India. I've been really impressed with the camera so far. Now, although I don't take too many selfies on my phone, it's so obvious that the front-facing camera quality is so much better on the 5 Pro than the Mi A1. I feel even Baburao Ganpatrao Apte would be able to appreciate the difference even without his chashma. In fact, even for regular pictures coming from the Mi A1, I feel the 5 Pro's pictures are so much better in terms of colors as well as a dynamic range. So the pictures are much better exposed, the bright areas aren't too blown out, they aren't too bright, and the dark areas of the shadows aren't completely blacked out. Also, I really like the portrait mode out here simply because I don't have to move too far away from my subject to have it in frame, something I have to do on the Mi A1 and the OnePlus 5 because of the different focal length. And with the shots I've taken, I'm really impressed with the way it handles even strands of your hair and even non-living objects. Now out here in this picture, despite the car in focus and the car in the background having almost the same color, the 5 Pro has done a pretty good job of keeping the right stuff in focus and blurring the rest of it out. Now, despite all this great stuff, the one thing that completes the 5 Pro for me, that makes it that complete phone, is the answer to the question that all of us Indians love asking.
कितना देती है?
It's really important to me. It's the reason that I prefer using the 5 Pro over my OnePlus 5 and it's the reason I adore the 5 Pro so much. Now, despite having a half-inch larger display and a significantly more powerful processor, the battery life is still amazing. So with the Note 4, I was usually able to get 8.5 to 9 hours of screen on time across a day. With the 5 Pro, I'm still able to get 8 hours over a day of use, and that makes me so happy. So these are just my initial impressions after using it for a few days. There's so many things like the face unlock, the video recording, playing heavy games, and taking photos in low light that I've yet not done with this phone. And I'd also like to see about a month after using this phone how all the stuff I've talked about now, the performance and everything, actually holds up. But despite this, there's one thing I can confidently say, that unless I'm willing to spend over 30,000 rupees on a phone right now, there's no other phone I'd rather buy than the Note 5 Pro. Alright, I think that's it for this video. I'd actually like to hear what you have to say. We can chat in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. Hope to see you soon.